Greetings, Comic-Con and Transformers fans of all ages. Welcome to Optimus Prime Up Close and Personal. Who we all willingly follow into battle. A bot for whom I would gladly sacrifice my swag. Someone I consider it an honor to call my friend. Today, you are among the privileged few to get to know the man behind the Matrix. A legend in his own right with a career that spans decades. Rescue bots, good luck. Prepare to roll out. I am thrilled to introduce you to the one, the only, Peter Cullen. Broadcasting icon, the king of interviewers, Larry King.
You hear this? Whoa! Thank you for that wonderful reception. It's great to be here in San Diego at this incredible convention. We moved from here to Hollywood Boulevard. Anyway, I have interviewed a few folks on my day, but it's rare you see a voiceover actor recognized for his work. And the time has come now to honor a legendary voiceover actor, long overdue, for this recognition. He's been doing voiceover work as the Transformers character Optimus Prime since 1984. We thought we're better than to pay tribute to Peter Cullen than in this tremendous convention. We're saluting a man whose unmistakable career has taken him through incredible days since his early days, first on the original animated TV series, Transformers Generation 1, and then the three box office smash hit Transformer movies, and now his work on the Hub TV Network's Emmy Award-winning animated series from Hasbro Studios. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Cullen. Okay.
You got the touch!
Let's start with the obvious. First, before anything else, do the voice. I am overdressed. What a career. Spider-Man, The Smurfs, Pac-Man, G.I. Joe, Scooby-Doo. Feature films include the vocals for the main character in King Kong, The Gremlins, the Human Alien and the Predator films, the voice of Carr in the Knight Rider TV series, video game credits, Mario and Donkey Kong, and now the Transformers Prime Igor! Igor! I'm sorry. Hey! I'm a Jewish guy from Brooklyn. I never knew anyone named Igor or Igor. Jeez. How did you get to be a voiceover person? How did that come about?
Well, Larry, it probably was accidental. When I was a kid, I could do animal sounds, all the calves in the barn. I could do horses, I could do the wings, all kinds of dogs, and I could do cats.
You did dogs by breeds?
Yeah, I could do dogs by breeds. I really could. I could separate a small dog from a large dog, which would always confuse the people that I was working for at the time.
But how did you come to do it as a profession?
Well, that didn't happen until years later. I had a midnight to 6 o'clock in the morning radio show called Milkman's Matinee. I had a huge audience in Montreal. I think 18 night watchmen, nurses in the general hospital, just a variety of...
Typical all that.
But I was very lonely, I guess, and And I would entertain myself by interviewing people that weren't there. I would impersonate them.
You'd invent characters coming into the studio?
I would invent characters that would come in. And then
Like, give me an example.
Well, right off the top of my head, I said there would be people like Walter Brennan or John Wayne, you know, and nobody would believe it, but I would say, well, you know, this is really an opportunity now because Walter Brennan just walked in. Sit down here, Walter. Well, thank you, my Pete. You know, it's nice to be here today. I've had so much fun. What time is it? It's about 3:30. Damn me, it's time to get to bed.
So you were, this is a little psychotic, right? You would do these things, and did someone discover this? I mean, how did it start that you would do voiceovers?
Well, then they would give me the job of recording some of the commercial advertisers on the radio station, and I got to do a regular voice for a while. And then they made me write copy, so I would write copy and then do my own narration to it. Now, I lasted about a year, and that was it for me. Somebody came down and said, you know, you should be on the stage.
So you did theater?
I got into theater excuse me. I had graduated from the National Theatre School of Canada. I went to Toronto, did a year of repertory theater, came back to Montreal, was disenchanted with the business, and that's how I got the CKGM radio job. And that led to cafe comedy stuff, and that led to television and radio.
What was your first big break? What was the first voiceover you did that got you noticed?
It would have to have been when I was in Hollywood now, and I had done a movie, or a 2-hour special, to replace Laugh-In, and I got a sad awakening when we saw the 2-hour special. And my manager just went, it's going to go nowhere, Peter. And 2 weeks later, I was asked to do The Little Man in the Ball on the Sonny and Cher show, and at the same time, wait for 16 counts and then say, well, I went, oh, no, don't you do that? It's a funny character.
Wait a minute. This was your big break.
This is my break.
Somebody heard this and said, that guy's got it.
Trolls went off. And all I had to say was, ladies and gentlemen, Sonny and Cher. And then they said, who is this guy?
All right, what this audience would be most interested in, obviously, let's talk about Optimus.
There you go.
We were talking earlier, we were doing an interview as to how you got that voice. There's a lot of ways you could have done that character. You could have gone broad, but your brother had a softer voice, and he recommended you go soft, right?
Well, partly right. Larry my brother Larry was a Marine, and he had served in Vietnam. Wounded, he came on the Bronze Star, or received the Bronze Star, pardon me. Then became a captain after that. We were living together in Burbank, California. And I was on my way to an audition, and he says, Peter, where are you going? He said, I'm going to audition, Larry. For what? He said, for a truck. And he laughed pretty much the same way you guys are. He said, a truck. And he said, yeah, I'm a truck. So, but he's a hero, Larry. He said, a hero truck, Peter. Well, Peter, be a real hero. Don't be one of those run-of-the-mill heroes. You know, they're always screaming and yelling. He says, be gentle, be calm, be soft-lead, you know. You can be strong enough to be gentle. I said, okay. And good luck. I took that with me. And Larry, I got to the audition, I read the signs. And Larry just jumped off the page, and I just said,
"This is his voice."
Did him. just the way he would become, I'd say.
So tell me how you discovered that into this apparatus. Like, do that voice again. How you got it.
I would think down inside and I just thought of Larry he's always truthful, honest, and strong. And he never raised his voice, He could get it done with a look in his eye. And just by saying, if I had, taken his baseball glove or something, he could just look and say, Peter, put it back. Okay, Larry.
Wow. What does Optimus Prime mean to you? Why does the public love him?
Well, it was a surprise to me to find out years later, but I think it's what he stands for. He was brilliantly created, and he's well written, and I just added Larry's composure. And I think it's all about character. I think it's strength of character. I think it resonates with courage, dignity, honor, responsibility, courteousness, and strength.
What about when they have him killed?
That was fun.
What was it like when you got the script and you saw?
Oh, I think we were about 17 minutes into the script, and I was with Frank Welker, the great Frank Welker. I said, Frank, he said, what page are you on? He says, I just ruffled through and just doing my lines. And he said, I'm getting whacked on page 17. You're kidding? No. He said, what? Well, there go the car payments. I've been saying that for 10 years. You think I'd have that car paid off by now?
So then they bring it back much later, right?
They bring me back in 2007 for the first movie, and then the second and third.
Did they have an explanation how he was dead and now not dead?
Well, really hard to configure that. It's really, you can do a lot of things with metal.
Hasbro probably rebuilt them.
Oh, Hasbro, God bless them. God bless Hasbro, and especially now the Discovery Hub, their network, and we have Transformers Prime now, which is a whole new generation of children, and I'm really grateful for that.
You mentioned Frank Welker, he plays Megatron.
Correct.
What is your relationship like off screen?
Frank is one of the most wonderfully talented people, as well as being a wonderful human being. And I'm always amazed by Frank's ability to entertain me. And when we're not entertained, we talk about our own interests. And Frank flies airplanes, which I had an interest years ago, but I wouldn't trust myself in one now. I barely see. I think you need eyes.
Has the character grown, Optimus? Has he?
I think he has. I think he's more mature now. And
you like him, Peter?
I do.
No, Peter, you kind of love him, don't you?
I love him.
Peter, is it serious?
Yeah. I especially like his arms. They're very shiny.
You're making news here today, Peter.
No, I do. Because every time I do him, I'm thinking of Larry. I'm thinking of my brother.
Once in a while now, you're one of the best known, unknown people in the world. Like, you walk down the street, no one knows you. Do you like that?
Yeah.
Do you like anonymity?
I do. I made a choice years ago when I finished on-camera work, working with a lot of great talented people, Richard Pryor, Jonathan Winters, They were great opportunities, and I could have explored further into that, but I decided I wanted to raise a family without all the Hollywood hullabaloo, and moved out to the country, and young Clay and Claire would go up the road to a yellow school bus, and I was in Norman Rockwell heaven.
What's the secret of successful voiceovers? The fact that you can do many things, or is it approach? Do you see the character on the screen when you're doing it, or are you doing it in a cold room?
Well, that's a great question, because all those ingredients are necessary. You have to be able to inspire somebody else. You have to be able to take the animated drawing and come up with a voice that you think would be appropriate for it. And if it's a comedic situation, you certainly have to dig in to find within that voice and the words they give you to make people laugh. And oftentimes that's done by just the character figure itself. But when you look at Transformers Prime, and these are dramatic characters that have taken on almost a human element. And we explore the acting technique more than the voice manipulation.
Do you move your arms and stuff when you talk?
We don't have to do that, because the animators and between Hasbro Studios, the Hub Network, the animation, and the people behind those scenes, they win Emmys.
Yeah.
I mean, these are extremely talented people, and they are capable of doing the animation just by the intonation of voice or the determination in the voice. They do it, and they make it more real than I think an actor could do it, if he had to impersonate those physical movements.
Have you worked for Disney?
I have.
And what was unhappy about it?
I don't think working is never unhappy for me in animation. I mean, I love the actors I work with for sure.
This was a little slow on the Disney response.
Well, I was having memory problems.
About the paycheck?
No, I'd rather not go into it.
Okay. I don't want to get...
I played Eeyore. Eeyore was a little... in all the movies for the last 17, 18, 19 years.
What did Eeyore sound like?
Hello. Thanks for not noticing me.
What character did you do in Winnie the Pooh?
Eeyore.
That was Eeyore.
Yeah, Eeyore.
Did you ever get a character that stumped you for a while?
Yeah, I had an Australian mouse. He used to talk to me like, mate, hey, you're going to get him? Thanks a lot, mate. Let's get out of here now. I used to stumble over that all the time, partly because it was an Australian accent, and partly because he always had to say silly words like, crikey, and curl my lip, and then I lose it.
Many people consider Optimus Prime a father figure. What do you make of what the public thinks of him?
Well, there's truth to that in many ways. I think Prime's character is trustworthy, and I think that he's reliable. And through my experiences in rooms like this, I've talked with young men that didn't have a father, and latchkey kids that were raised by Optimus Prime. And they were very grateful that I was there in their childhood. And that was a big surprise to me. And I developed a huge responsibility to maintain that.
Does he have a fault?
I'm sorry?
Does he have any faults?
He can have faults, and I'm sure I've made them for him.
Is there any weakness in the character you see? Is he too sensitive?
I don't think so. I don't write the script, number one. And if there ever was an opportunity that suggested that perhaps Optimus Prime was leading or going in another direction, I would be very, very insistent to say no. And I've never had that problem.
Would you like him to have a relationship?
That would be very interesting.
I'd like to see the film. I like sparks. Anyway. What are we going to do now? We're going to take questions, and I'll interpose some questions as well. We have a microphone in the middle, but before we do that, this is because Optimus Prime plays a father figure. We're going to show this clip. Watch him play a father figure to his fellow Autobots. Watch.
We are autonomous robotic organisms from the planet Cybertron, also known as Autobots.
Peter Cullen is one of the great voices from everyone's childhood. He's lent his voice to several pivotal cartoon series, including G.I. Joe, Voltron, Dungeons & Dragons, and many, many more. Besides playing the voice of Winnie the Pooh's friend Eeyore, Peter Cullen is perhaps best known for lending his voice to the Autobot leader Optimus Prime.
You've caused enough destruction for one day, Megatron.
Cullen pioneered the role of Optimus Prime and has been part of the Transformers legacy since its inception in 1984.
He has really helped shape the character of Optimus Prime over the years, giving him qualities of honor, valor, integrity, and it's those qualities that have really kept Optimus relevant for this next generation.
Autobots, roll out.
You hear him say, Autobots transform and roll out, and there's like chills that go up your spine. That booming voice, so authoritative, so clearly in charge. He really brought it to life.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost. During this mission, you four must appear to the humans as machines, robots in disguise.
I think Peter has put a lot of himself into the character of Optimus Prime, and a lot of his personal experiences have really helped bring that character to life.
Are you certain I'm worthy?
You know, Optimus and Peter are really like that father figure you kind of always wish you had. He's so clear about what the rules are. He's so clear in knowing how to lead the team.
We owe it to ourselves, to the memory of Cybertron.
In addition to being the voice of the famed Autobot leader, Cullen also voiced the popular character of the Transformers Autobot, Ironhide.
They're too fast for us in the air. I'm tired of sucking their vapor trail.
In 2005, Hasbro announced that it had reached an agreement with DreamWorks Pictures and Paramount Pictures to produce a live-action motion picture. This resulted in several fan campaigns petitioning for Peter Cullen to return as the voice of Optimus Prime.
And in performance, he's tremendous, and he leads the charge, and he inspires the rest of the cast to be just that good.
He's just so respectful of the character that he's created, and he recognizes the importance and the meaning that Optimus has had to the Transformers brand, to the Transformers storytelling, and to all the fans over the years.
In 2006, at San Diego Comic-Con, it was a dream come true for Transformers fans when Hasbro finally announced that Peter Cullen would once again play the heroic leader of the Autobots.
And we must find it before Megatron.
The success of the feature films and the release of Transformers War for Cybertron have created a whole new generation of Transformers fans.
You feel such a connection to so many decades of fandom, and so many people who grew up in the brand and then have shared that with, you know, kids of their own. And I think that for all of us, it's like sort of a little piece of history and a little piece of the present and a little piece of the future sort of all strung together in Peter and in Optimus.
This I vow, with all my spark,
Optimus is now such an iconic character and such a big part of pop culture, and Peter's a part of that, and I think Optimus and Peter will be eternally linked.
First one, first serve. I'll call, I'll hold. Get behind the mic. Okay, start with the lady.
Sorry, I'm laughing because I met a few weeks after I ran the just one super quick question. Mouth guard or no mouth guard? And how do you feel about other voice actors that have voiced Optimus Prime?
Well, when I finished with Optimus Prime in 1986, I didn't pay too much attention after that. Not that I disliked anybody else that replaced me. It was just that I had to move on and do other things. And I was very busy. And my kids were grown enough to the point where they were no longer watching, cartoons. They were becoming very, very active in sports. Did that help?
Thank you.
I think the one that stands out more than any other is the line, "Hold on to your dreams. The future is built on dreams."
First off, big fan. You've played Optimus Prime for a very long time. I was wondering if things have been different. Would there be any other Transformers you would have liked to play the voice for?
Oh, I would have played any other character because I had so much fun with the people I work with. And especially now in Transformers Prime, the cast that I work with, Frank Welker and Steve Bloom and Kevin, Sue Lee, and there's just so many of these. They're great actors, and Hasbro and they put together perhaps some of the greatest talent that I've ever worked with. I love them.
It is acting, is it not?
Oh, yeah, this is acting.
Could you switch roles with Frank?
No.
You couldn't do that voice?
I couldn't do it as well as he could, nor could I do anything that Steve Bloom could do. Steve Bloom, you'd be in a room with Steve Bloom, and you would think you were on a Shakespearean stage. He's brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you. Who are you dressed as?
I'm Princess Peach from Mario, only I'm Tanuki. I'm the raccoon version.
Did you get that? I got it. This is a weird place. Go ahead.
I'll do this actor here too.
Have committed the ultimate sin. You have topped a Jew. Personally, ask your question. What's your question?
So with each different series, the characters seem to be a little different. Is Optimus always the same Optimus to you, or does he differ from G1 Optimus to now Transformers Prime Optimus, or is he always the same to you?
He's the same. He will always be the same as long as I am Optimus Prime. I will never do anything else.
Thank you!
I would like to ask my question with my own take on Megatron.
Okay, you're Megatron.
Optimus Prime, we meet again. Soon you will fall, and all of Cybertron will belong to the Decepticons. But something bothers me the most.
Spit it out, Megatron.
You always prefer to defend the weak and the fragile.
I see. You're blaming your frailties on me. Frailties? I'll show you frailties. Now done with you, I will use your head as my trophy. E-X-I-T.
Hello, Peter Cullen. I love your work. What? I love your work.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, this is a quote question, but will you do the quote from the third movie of Transformers where Optimus is basically PO'd when he comes back? It says, "We will kill them all"?
Very difficult line, and I showed some hesitancy to do it. I was overruled. The line was coming back from having not been around for a little bit. He came back and he was very angry, and he lost his temper, supposedly, and his line was, "I will kill them all." It's not a word that I would ever use, but it was not my choice. I was asked to do it, and I did what I was told.
Was that out of character?
Well, in analyzing it, Larry, I would think it was and it was hard for me to adjust to, and I've made mental adjustments to it, considering even, in the Bible, the Lord lost his temper on the steps of the temple too. Anger is a part of life, and we all are subject to it. So maybe this is over analytical, but that's the way I try to appease it.
In other words, it was human.
Was human. Yeah.
Next. Thank you. Gentlemen?
My question is, when you got the script for beginning of season 2 of Prime, and you read that Prime was becoming a Decepticon, how did you feel about that?
Well, thank goodness for producers and directors that they would say, this is where we are right now, but this is where it's going. So I was privy to a lot of information beforehand, but I can understand the reason you're asking that question, because I'm sure they wouldn't have put me through that. Oh, mercy.
Are you okay, Peter?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. You've emotionally destroyed me.
With the Optimus character, you voiced him in a series of instances now with both animation, movies, and video games. I was curious, of the three of those, which one did you enjoy the most, both in terms of the Optimus character and the overall process of voice acting for that type of medium?
Good question.
First of all, let me preface this by saying, with Hasbro Studios, the Hub Discovery Network with Transformers Prime, let's isolate that. I think that's probably one of the greatest experiences you could ever have, and I enjoy it. I enjoy that. It's a lot different from the way I worked in Generation 1 back in the 80s. We were a collection of huge amount of guys, and the conditions weren't always, normal. And working on the game, I work alone, and I do hundreds and hundreds of lines without really having a continuity in my head. The person that's playing the game, for example, is very much involved in the game, and situations will change according to the moves that he makes. So when you look at all those performances, the one that I really appreciate the most is Transformers Prime, the one that we're doing on Hub Network right now. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, very much so.
Thank you.
So my name's Brian. I was wondering if Optimus could record my voicemail for me.
Hey, he stood up, he took a risk.
And I'm going to ask the entire audience at the end of the message, I'm going to say, do we want to hear this message? And you guys are going to say yes or no. Okay, right?
Well, I tell you what, we'll make it a double message for you. Your name is Brian?
Yep.
Okay. Ready? Well, I'll introduce him on your message. Hit the click.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Larry King. You've reached the phone number of Brian. Brian is not here now, but someone wishes to say something.
This
gentleman.
Oh my goodness, Mr. King, I'm sorry. I interrupted Brian's outgoing message.
Try it again.
Okay.
Just say leave a number.
Larry said the right thing. Brian's not here. Leave a number.
Thank you.
Hey, let me tip a wrist. That was nice. I would sell that on YouTube. The little man.
How do you make the Transformers transform the cars to robots?
What do you say?
How do you make the Transformers transform from cars to robots?
Hey now. Well, young fella, when these animators get together with all those pencils and paper, they sit down and they draw one movement at a time. Now that doesn't make much sense to you, but I'm thinking that you think it's real, and of course, it is.
Gentlemen.
You worked years and years with Transformers and done with Eeyore and things like that. Is there ever been a other animated series or movie or whatever that you would want to be a part of? Whether it be like an animated Star Wars or anything else that you've seen that you like, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah, I sure have. I mean, when I go to see some of the musicals, for example, and I some great animation with, huge effects and things, I sit there and say, gosh, I auditioned for that.
Was Mel Blanc your hero?
Mel Blanc, without a doubt, was a real hero in my life. I can remember when I was 6 years old in a small little fishing village in Massachusetts. And there was a little theater called the Playhouse Theater. And on Saturdays, we would be allowed to go with our older cousins to see the matinees in the afternoon. And there was always a Mel Blanc cartoon. And I could remember the very first time I saw a Mel Blanc cartoon. I couldn't read, but I was determined to sit down after everybody left, and I was watching those credits, and I said, there's something here I've got to understand. And it was MELBLANC. And the next time I saw that name, I could really read it. But I recognized it.
Mel Blanc did hundreds of voices. He appeared on many radio shows. He did Woody Woodpecker, Bugs Bunny, Elmer Fudd. He was great. Next.
His name is Vincent. Sometimes he acts like a Decepticon. Do you have any advice for him?
His name is Vincent. He wants to be a what?
Sometimes he has bad behavior and doesn't listen very well. So any advice from Optimus Prime?
Optimus Prime is talking to Vincent. Vincent, are you listening?
do something, I want you to do it. I want you to be the best boy you can. I love you, Vincent.
What?
Would you be willing to sign a couple of things for him?
Right, if he wants, if you have time. Okay. Good luck, Vincent. There are a few more. One more question. I'm sorry, the lady. One more. We have one time for one more. Go ahead.
Hi. I'm kind of embarrassed to ask this, but when you do a cheesy pickup line in the Optimus Prime voice.
What means a pickup line?
A cheesy pickup line in Optimus Prime's voice.
A cheesy pickup line as the voice. We're in a bar. Okay. We're in a bar. There's a girl sitting at the bar. You sit down. First of all, she's going to be shocked out of her mind to see this truck come in and see this. I don't think you need a pickup line at this point. Because first we have to revive her. Now, what would you say?
Excuse me, are you from Cybertron?
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had a real treat. We hope you enjoy the rest of the convention. Let's hear it for Peter Cullen.